Task number 2 of our Observing Mechanisms project is to, again, gather some background information about what mechanisms actually are and how they work. So we're going to read some information together. We're going to do that here in this video together. We're going to do some highlighting. Then you're going to watch an Introduction to Mechanisms video and fill in some notes as you go through that video. And today you're going to understand a little bit better about how mechanisms work, what they are, and just some basic background information that we want to gather before we move on. And so we're going to be working with the inquiring and analyzing portion of our design process today. Our essential question as we work today that we should have in the back of our minds are, what are ways that mechanisms change motion? How do they change motion? What do they change about motion? And so you're going to go through that, and you should be able to answer that after going through and filling in the notes, watching the video, and reading through this introduction information today. So at this point, let's pause the video and open up your design notebook. All right, we've got our design notebook open. We are on task number 2, and like I had mentioned previously there, we're going to work with inquiring and analyzing again, gathering some background information and understanding some of this background information. So let's click on the bookmark to task number 2. You see our essential question here. What are ways that mechanisms change motion? You want to go through and answer that at some point before this project is done. So you see down here the introduction paragraphs. We're going to read those together. The video that you're going to watch, there's a link to this right here, Gear Trains and Motion. And so you're going to click on that and watch that, and that's going to help you then kind of fill in these blanks down here. So you see these blue blanks. Everything that's blue is a must do. You need to fill in that. And as you go through here, there are some things that might be, I think most of this is probably blue. Looks like it is. So you're going to want to make sure that you fill in everything that has a blue background. And you'll do that through watching this video right here. So before we get to that, let's read through these introduction paragraphs. So just going to follow along with me. We're going to highlight some key pieces of information that are going to help us as we move forward. So starting with this paragraph right here, introduction. A mechanism is a device that transmits movements so that the output movement is different from the input movement. It can be used to change the direction, speed, force, or type of movement. The output of a robot or any machine is motion and force in some form. A drill press, like you see here in this picture, for example, has two kinds of motion, rotary and linear. The drill spinning provides the rotary motion in a circle. Moving the drill down through the material is the linear motion. The force or torque applied to the drill must be sufficient to turn the drill through the material. Also, the speed of the drill bit must be within a given range. If the drill is turning too fast, the drill bit will be damaged. To acquire the correct speed, the drill press must have a pulley or gear system. Changing pulleys changes the speed of the drill bit. When you're riding a multi-speed bicycle up a steep hill, what do? Most likely you shift gears in order to get more power with the same amount of effort. Sometimes when a standard shift or four-wheel drive vehicle is being driven up a steep incline, the driver will downshift or engage the four-wheel drive in order to gain more torque. Can you think of other examples where force and torque is changed to make a task easier? Think about that. At the end of this project, you'll probably be able to think of some different examples. So let's highlight what a mechanism is. Right here, a mechanism is something that changes motion. So let's choose that and let's highlight this because this is something that we want to remember. It's a device that transmits movement so that the output result is different from how it starts. Okay? And then 4 things that mechanisms can use to change. They can change the direction of motion, the speed of that movement, the force of that movement, or the type of that movement. So 4 things that mechanisms can change. Okay? So that's kind of the background information for moving on. Once you have those things highlighted, let's go back up here. You're going to click on this video, Observing Mechanisms, Gear Trains and Motion. You're going to watch that video, and you are going to fill in, again, these blue blanks. So a blank is a part of a machine which contains 2 or more pieces arranged so that the motion of one, and then fill in that blank. 4 ways that mechanisms change motion. Ooh, hey, we just highlighted that, so you can go back and write down what those 4 are. That information will also be in the video. Meshed gears always turn in blank directions, and I will let you go through and answer the rest of those on your own. So you're going to go through, fill in all the blanks, complete this chart about gear ratios, and right now you might be like, I have no idea anything about gear ratios. Do your best with it. Ask your teacher if you have questions. You see some more reading here, so go through, do that rest of that reading, fill in these blue boxes. Here in this last chart, you're going to label the input and output type of movements for each of the pictures. So what's the input, what's the output? Hopefully you understand that vocabulary. You're going to go through that, and then you get to your task summary, finish your summary about what you learned and how you were successful, and then you see the red stop sign, the end of task number 2, and you are done. So at any point, if you have questions, make sure you reach out to your teacher. Good luck.